Hello everyone. We are on lesson 4 of Miss Nelson is Missing. Today is going to be our last day with this text because when we meet back on Monday we will begin module 1. So you guys will begin it on Tuesday because you'll be listening to module 1's lesson from Monday. So today is our last day with Miss Nelson is Missing. We're going to skip this part. So we have talked about the 4 questions that we will have in Wit and Wisdom. We have the essential question, which is the large question. It's the one that takes the longest time to answer. And it is, what is the essential meaning of Miss Nelson is Missing? When we have the focusing question, which usually takes the length of one text, it's the medium-sized question. And then we have the small question, which is our content framing question, and it takes about a day to answer. And then sometimes we will have a 4th question called the craft question, and it has to do with our writing for that class period. So we are going to look at some of the pages today so that we can try to figure out what the essential meaning is of Miss Nelson is Missing. So we're going to look at the illustrations on pages 4 and 5 and page 12 and 13. And we're going to talk about what's different about them. How did the students change between those 2 sets of pages? So here we're going to go to page 4 and 5. Okay, so this is page 4. Look carefully and see what you can notice about the children. What are they doing on this page? What's going on here? Same thing for this one. We see lots of things going on in these 2 pages. Now keep remembering what they're doing here, and then we're going to go look at page 12 and 13. Okay, so how are they different? This is page 12. How are they different in these pictures? What are they doing here? And what about in these pictures? So what I want you to do is take a few seconds, pause this video, and tell someone around you what's the difference between the pictures of the students on pages 5 and pages 12 and 13. How did the kids change? How did their behaviors change? How did their facial expressions change? Okay, go ahead and pause the video. And when you were done, just hit play. Okay, the second question that we're going to talk about is, what did the students think happened to Miss Nelson? Use examples from the text to support your answer. So if we look back in the book, we're going to make sure we look for evidence in the book. We have to find evidence. We can't just tell what we think all the time. So right here on this page, it says, maybe we should try to find her, they said. Some of them went to the police. Detective Smog was assigned to the case. He listened to their story. He scratched his chin. He said. I think Miss Nelson is missing. Detective McSmog would not be much help. So the evidence from these 2 pages show that the kids seem to think that she has disappeared, and so they went to the police to try to find her. If we keep going, it says, other kids went to Miss Nelson's house. The shades were tightly drawn, and no one answered the door. In fact, the only person they did see was the wicked Miss Viola Swamp coming up the street. If she sees us, she'll give us more homework. They got away just in time. So these kids must have thought that maybe she was just hiding out in her house and they wanted to go see if she was there. So they went to the house to find her, but she was not there. So let's go to the first question where we compared the illustrations. I noticed in the illustrations on pages 4 and 5 that the kids were misbehaving. They were making silly faces. They were whispering and giggling. They were throwing airplanes. They were throwing spitballs. They would not settle down. Like this one kid back here in the background, he's doing a handstand. So I mean, they were just being very disrespectful and not polite to Miss Nelson. But if we look on pages 12 to 13, we can see that their behaviors have changed. This little guy right here, you can tell by the finger that Miss Swamp is yelling at him, and he looks really sad, and he's just looking down at his book. And then this little girl, she's just working so hard on all these math problems, and all of these children, they have tons and tons of homework in all of these books. We don't get to see any of their faces down here, really. We just see this little guy's face, and he looks very unhappy and very sad. So that's how those illustrations have shown changes in the students. The last question is, are the students happy to have Miss Nelson back? And how do we know this? Well, if we go farther along in the text, keep scrolling. All right, right here. It says, "It was Miss Nelson. Did you miss me?" she asked. "We certainly did," cried all. And that right there is a piece of evidence, because the words tell us that they missed her. And if you miss someone, you're always happy to see them again. "Where were you?" "That's my little secret," said Miss Nelson. "How about a story hour?" "Oh, yes," cried the kids. Miss Nelson noticed that during story hour, no one was rude or silly. There's another piece of evidence that they were happy to have Miss Nelson back, because they wanted to have story hour now, but before they didn't. And they weren't rude or silly or make funny faces or be disrespectful during her story time. We're going to skip this part. Okay, so we're going to work on determining the essential meaning of the story. All that means is, what is the important message that the author is trying to tell you in this story? What do you think the author wants you to learn from this story? Our focusing question was, how do Miss Nelson's students learn to appreciate what they have? And our craft question was, how do I write about Miss Nelson is missing? And again, our focusing question is, how do Miss Nelson's students learn to appreciate what they have? So the main thing that the author is trying to tell us in this story is that we need to be appreciative of what the things that we have and the people that we have in our life, because we don't know when they might be gone. So we're going to write about how they learned that lesson. So what my class did this afternoon was, we came up with I hope I'm sharing this. Nope, hold on, I need to switch screens. I'm going to pause that screen and maybe move it to a new screen. Hold on 1 second. There we go. Okay. So we did organizer together today, where they told me some of the evidence that showed how the students learned to appreciate what they have. And it's right over here. They said Miss Swamp made them work harder than they had ever worked before. Miss Swamp gave them a lot of homework. Miss Swamp was mean and yelled at them. And Miss Swamp took away their story hour. So these were 4 things that the first class decided were how the students learn to appreciate what they have. So what you are going to do for your homework today is you're going to see these 4 students in this evidence organizer, and you're going to write 1 to 2 sentences explaining how the students learn to appreciate having Miss Nelson as their teacher. you are going to write this on page 3 of your knowledge response journal. And you're going to create an illustration at the bottom of the page that matches the sentence you wrote. Okay? So your sentences need to answer this question. If I'm asking you how they learn to appreciate what they have, you should not write about what they did or what they had for lunch, because that does not answer the question. These are the things over here that answer the question, or what they had for lunch. And these are the things over you're going to write 1 to 2 sentences, and you need to answer a question. You always need to, I gave class earlier today was, I wanted to use the piece of evidence that Miss Swamp took away their story hour. So I wrote the sentence, the students learned to appreciate what they had because Miss Swamp took away their story hour. And then I even added in some more information, and I included, she made them sit still and quiet. Then the picture that I wrote the sentence, hour. And then I did, she made them sit. All of that would be, instead of having on a carpet, I could draw a desk maybe with their head down. And remember, we need to use crayons and colored pencils. Okay? So once you get done with your 1 to 2 sentences, using the piece of evidence, rewriting part of the question in your sentence, and your illustration is complete, you are going to take a picture of page 3 book and upload slide 2 of this. Okay, so you're just going to take your picture and you're going to put on this blank document. All right, so that is all that I have for your class today. And in our next class period, we will begin Module 1 about how changes install things. The assignment that I just gave you will be due Wednesday night. That gives you 2 nights to do it after you watch the video. All right. Have a great afternoon, guys, a great weekend, and I'll see you later.